It was a second win yesterday for Lucas Weisenberg, but as is the case throughout the entire season for Toyota GR Cup North America, we re-rack and restack here for race number 2 at Sonoma Raceway. And with a wet and drying track here and a very wet track in qualifying, it completely changes the game. Will Robusto on pole, the leaders all shuffled around, and it'll be a fantastic race number 2, 45 minutes on the clock. DJ Clark up here on the commentary booth alongside Kyle Heyer. This one's going to get interesting.
Oh, it's been interesting all week. The weather's been sending everyone chasing speed, chasing grip, and chasing time, and neither of the past champions of the series are running this year. So as we said yesterday in race 1, there's a huge hole at the top of the standings. Lucas Weisenberg was able to place himself up at the top, get his second career victory, but there's 30 other drivers that would love to claim a victory, a first victory, another victory, but I will tell you this, race 2 is going to be fierce, especially with those damp conditions that we talked about.
Yeah, it's going to be very tricky to try to figure out. We were able to watch the Pirelli GT4 race previously, and it looked like that there was a lot of drying line on the traditional racing line on the track, but I think offline it's going to be pretty damp and it's going to be pretty hard.
Yeah, certainly. A week before we raced here in Sonoma, we participated in the Toyota GR Cup North America Esports League. And we'll be doing that all season long before each of the 7 rounds of this championship. We do that in the iRacing simulator. Some of the drivers that we have here in the field today participated last week, like Jackson and Ethan Tovo. Those 14-year-olds are in this field today. There's other drivers that have participated in the past, Weston Workman in the 13 and others. And of course, the 31 field. Let's have a look at the highlights from last week's GR Cup Esports event. Of course, this is a replication of our real-world Toyota GR Cup North America Esports Championship following the 7 rounds, but last week at Sonoma, great battles all through the field with some returning drivers in this iRacing Championship. Great fights here, previewing what we're going to see at Sonoma. Battle for second between Andre Castro and Michael Yanni, running with the PT Autosport team that we see here replicated in this championship as well. Battle 3 wide over the curbs. We'll see that here today as well. Thomas Belleman won there. Who wins GR Cup North America today here at Sonoma? This is going to be a lot of fun, DJ.
As the cars roll out of pit lane, ready to take on the green flag for the 45-minute race. It will be Robusto leading them around his first career pole position, unless I'm greatly mistaken. But I'm going to be looking at the driver starting in P3. Jackson Bell for Copeland Motorsports could be one to definitely move his way forward and potentially take a second career victory for himself.
Of course, let's have a look at our starting lineup here for race 2 for Toyota GR Cup North America. On the front row, it's going to be the number 2 RVA graphics car. It's the 98 of Max Schweid from Tech Sport Racing that runs alongside. Jackson Bell, you previewed, he starts 3rd. The Nitro Motorsports 78 car starts 4th with Ethan Ayers. 5th place, Eagles Canyon Racing powered by Fast Track, Livio Galanti. The Tech Sport 71 of Christian Weir. Returning Spike Kolbecker on the outside of row 4, DJ.
Yeah, as we move into row 5, Lucas Weisenberg here, winner from yesterday, Ford Koch, another one to be able to watch out for in that 10th place position. Moving back down through the field here, you've got to keep an eye on that 17th place driver. That's Weston Workman. He's still looking for his first win. His teammate starting behind him in 19th position. Another one to watch out for. Moving back into the Nitro camp, we see Jensen Sofronis alongside one of the Tovos. It's very, very interesting to see, especially with some of these drivers that are faster starting in the back of the pack here. We also should mention, as we see a few more of them back in 30th place and into 31st, those Eagles Canyon Racing powered by Fast Track drivers. You notice some drivers with a little more experience in the field, and we are proud to announce that that WEX championship for the Legend, finishing any driver that is above 45, they will receive a special award from WEX.
Yeah, Jason Coase, one of those drivers participating in that championship from the Worldwide Express Group. That number 3 has got something on the nose of that car that shouldn't be there, blocking up the air intake, so hopefully he can get that dislodged before we go green. You want to keep these cars cooled off as best you can around here, especially when you're turning 7,500 RPM. Now, these GR86 Cup cars are very road relevant. They all come off of the Toyota GR86 production line. They're sent over to TRD's facility in Charlotte, where they get all the Go Fast parts. That is not a Go Fast part, though. That's got to come off before we go green, or that 3 car is going to have some trouble, I think.
Yeah, particularly some trouble with overheating, potentially. actually, is what I would have to imagine, being right on that air intake. We will have 2 safety car laps here to bring us around, and the clock has officially started after the first one per the rules and regulations of the series. But Kyle, what are your keys here to making this race work, to getting into victory lane? It's going to be tricky.
Stay on the pavement because the track is dry. We're going to be on slick Continental tires here. Do not touch the grass. The grass is going to be like hitting ice here. It was rainy all morning, so it's very muddy. It's slippery offline. It's slippery in the grass. If you keep it on the road, you'll be in good shape. But as we saw yesterday, the second you touch the green stuff, you ever played the game Floor is Lava as a kid? The grass is lava today. Do not touch it.
Yeah. You do not want to be out onto that. You will find yourself spinning and absolutely in bad stead. We look there at Weston Workman in that number 13 machine for BSI Racing. He's going to be one that I think is going to move his way up through the field pretty quickly.
Yeah, he was so close to winning a race last year, so close to winning yesterday. It was an incredible battle between himself and Lucas Weisenberg. There was a little hip and shoulder between the two at turn 11, and a couple doors banged in and some donuts left from the Continental tires on the sides of both of those cars, but Wesson has been denied victory so many times. And you look down the list of winners, Wesson Workman is not on it, but his team is certainly also looking for a victory. BSI Racing, they have yet to go to victory lane here in Toyota GR Cup North America. It's really been Copeland Motorsports, Tech Sport Racing, and Lucas Racing that have won everything here in the last 3 years. So there's, again, wide open opportunity for another team to step up and dominate this championship across the racetracks we visit this season.
Lights are out on the safety car, that GR86 presented by Toyota, ready to bring this field down into the S's. There's John Dean, who won the inaugural Worldwide Engineering Award yesterday for the highest finishing legend. He's going to hope to carry on that, although he'll be starting down in 14th. He was, and Livio Galante is actually going to be the one in prime position to be able to take that. But here they come. Robusto's going to lead this field around to the green flag. 31 entrants ready to tear it loose at this 2.5-mile circuit at Sonoma Raceway.
We will be starting single file because of the track conditions here, so double file start deemed not necessary. So we're going to get everyone lined up here, and it is the number 2, Will Robusto, that is going to take us to the green flag. Line astern, 31 cars. There are 3 drivers that are just 14 years old, making just their fourth race start now in their careers here. Time to go racing from Sonoma, DJ.
Robusto packs up the bunch of cars as they get on into the acceleration zone, and the green flag is in the air. We are racing from Sonoma Raceway. Whoa, big wiggle there. I think that's actually Robusto trying to warm up the tires a little bit, and Jackson Bell wasting no time, already down to the inside of Schwein.
Yeah, Jackson Bell's got to be aggressive today. He got used up yesterday in the first race. It was a disappointing outing for him despite the speed. Like I said, sometimes you're the bat, sometimes you're the ball, and big slide for Kohlbecker out of turn 2.
And that's going to open up an opportunity there for Lucas Weisenberg, your race winner from yesterday, already trying to make moves up into the inside of Hewitt, trying to get that move. He's going to look down to the inside of turn 4. Is he going to go for it? Yes, he is. Weisenberg wasting no time.
Charging up already in that Segra-sponsored machine. We saw him in the paddock on Thursday. He said 14 wins, referencing the 14 races. He has an opportunity to win. Kohlbecker trying to charge back to the inside of that 17 of Hewitt.
Yeah, just absolutely using up Hewitt there, and that's going to send him offline. But a great line there from Kohlbecker. He may even be able to carry momentum down into turn 7 on Lucas Weisenberg. Little bit of back and forth there is up at the front of the field as Jackson Bell's trying to look for an angle on Robusto.
Yeah, they're going to be on slick tires because the track is almost dry, but there's still plenty of puddles around here. So if you hit the brakes in the puddles, it's not going to arrest your momentum like you expect. But those 2 orange and blue cars leading the field, Bell looking really aggressive and stout here in the early stages. This Max Schweid for Tech Sport Racing running 3rd, and the 17 of Hewitt on the back foot. He's got Ford Koch behind him in that grip-sponsored car.
I actually think Ayers has been able to take on to that 3rd place position. Now Galante, one of our Legends drivers, trying to make the move there on Schweid. Galante gets it done for Eagles Canyon Racing. Very, very slick move, and now the momentum falling back for Schweid is there. It could be Christian Weir, his Tech Sport teammate, trying to make a move.
Yeah, what does Weisenberg do here? Is he going to go up the inside of Weir? And he does not. So nice, patient driving there by Weisenberg. Of course, turn 11, the siren song here. You see that door open, you might want to go for it, but being patient here. There's a long way to go. Don't get yourself in trouble here too early.
Yeah, and you don't want to be fighting too hard because that's going to allow for the likes of Busto and Bell to slip off into the distance. But don't tell that to any of these drivers because they have got their elbows out. Here comes Weisenberg trying to make a big move. Weisenberg not wasting time. Move him up into 6th as he's able to get by Schwad.
A nice pass on the outside of turn 1 there. Offline through a very fast corner. Full throttle in these cars. They make about 230 horsepower. That flat 4 engine, low slung engine mounted pretty low in the chassis, so it keeps the center of gravity of the car very low to the ground, about 7 inches if I recall correctly, which is a lot lower than you think it would be because they're not a foot tall car, right? So these coupes are great, but there's already a penalty. That's going to be for, is that for Ethan Tovo in the 113?
It is.
Yeah, for a start violation there, so maybe he was out of position.
Yeah, my guess is he came out of those columns that we like to talk about as they go, but there goes Kohlbecker able to make the move on Schweid. Schweid just looks like he's a little bit off kilter. 2 cars way off into the grass.
Yeah, is that Ford Koch, one of those,
yes.
The 21? So he's gone for a slide. I think that was the 17 of Hewitt that was also tangled up in that. They did a nice job getting it back going straight, though. And Casey Mashore, the number 50 Mashore auto body car, in that bright kind of highlighter yellow machine, looking to take advantage of it. John Dean had a phenomenal outing yesterday in the 16 for Copeland Motorsports, and he's right in this mix as well.
Yeah, he's trying to get a little bit of a move on there, trying to close in on Livio Galante, who's currently 5th. Talking about maybe overheating issues there, the 21 machine looking a little bit dirty in that grill.
Yeah, Zach Hollingshead in the PT Autosport with Copeland Motorsports machine. That's the 88, 3rd car in line in this group, but as you documented, the 21 has a lot of grass packed up in that air intake here, so that might be a problem. We'll see. When you get behind another car, sometimes the air pressure can kind of clear that up, but again, you need to get really close, well, maybe even make some contact to help clear off that grill area. But you just hope it's not also packed full of mud, because that was pretty far off course. That 21 found himself out of 6.
Yeah, and that's for that 16th position for Ford Koch for Copeland Motorsports following that big off that we saw on the exit of the carousel. Drivers plunging their way in through turn 1 and up into turn 2 as Casey Mashore tries to hold off any attack there from behind. That's going to open up the door. John Dean now has Zach Hollingshead trying to fight for him. Mashore going on the attack.
Yeah, Mashore on Hewitt in the 17 car, had to back out. 3A is a hard place to go double file. Little slide for the 17, and Mashore will try turn 4, gets the nose to the inside, door to door through turn 4.
He's going to try to go for it. The problem is he's going to have the unpreferred line going into the carousel of turn 6, but I think Mashore is able to get in front. Is he able to cut down on Hewitt? Yes, he is. And now John Dean trying to do the same thing, but that 88 of Zach Hollingshead trying to push as well.
Yeah, Dean using that outside line there. That's the drier part of the racetrack because, as we documented, it was raining all day. There's been some races prior to this that have sort of cleared out the dry line, but the wet part is just damp for most of the racetrack now, so there should be some grip available. A little side-by-side here. There's the 47 of Aiden Kirk. He had a penalty yesterday, so dropped down the order, but we've seen how fast he is on raw lap time, and Weston Workman would like to battle the Tech Sport car.
Yeah, Workman trying to get his way up into that battle as well for BSI Racing. Hollingshead, though, offline. He's going to have a little bit of a problem trying to catch back up to it.
Workman a little off-kilter there, leaving turn 8. Opens the door for Alex Garcia, the 14. Propane car.
Just takes that opportunity, and that's exactly what you need to do in this. You talk about it so often that these are momentum-based cars, and if you get offline, you get a little bit sideways, that's going to throw you around.
Yeah, that Polpace car, the kind of magenta burgundy colors, really good-looking livery for the 07 this season. Lucas Weisenberg, his progress is sort of stalled behind Christian Weir. Weir's doing a great job defending in the Tech Sport Racing 71, but Spike Kohlbecker, bright yellow machine Vanguard engines on board with them this season. Oh, a little slide. Look at Weisenberg trying the outside lane through turn 2. That's going to be tight on exit. Gets run out to the rumbles. It's slippery out there, but holds his place in line.
I thought for a second there that we were going to see a move by Weisenberg to maybe send it down into turn 3. There was a potential, but as you said about a lap ago, very difficult to make that pass. Now here he comes down to the inside, but Lucas Weisenberg wise to it, carries momentum around the outside, but I'll tell you what, Spike Kohlbecker's not done yet.
No, and I don't think Weisenberg will give this in because, well, actually Kohlbecker backs out. There's a big chunk of body work over there at turn 5 as well, but if Weisenberg could have held that driver's left, the next turn is this one, the downhill left-hander at 6. So the preferred line comes back his way. But Lucas is driving hard, but hasn't moved much since getting stuck behind Christian Weir.
No, it just really doesn't seem to get anything ahead. And kudos here to Will Robusto up at the front of the field, holding off Jackson Bell. He's really not able to get too much of an attack. Farther back in the field, though, that's Garcia trying to go side by side. Hewitt, and I think that's Hollingshead as well.
It is. There's Garcia and Ford Kacha, then Weston Workman up the inside here in that Ndava liveried machine. Little puff of smoke out the tailpipes. Here's the 51 car joining the group. This is, of course, the BSI racing car of Massimo Sanseri, making his first weekend start in the Toyota GR Cup North America Championship. Doing a great job.
Garcia trying to hold off. A little bit of an attack there in the back. Nothing down into turn 9. Knocked over A-frames there, though. I think somebody went for a ride.
Could have. Jackson Tovo in the 31, another one of the Tovo brothers. Documented the 113 picking up a penalty for the start violation, but Jackson faring a little better at this stage in the race. Currently running in that number 31 car in about 18th place.
This right now, the battle for about 12th position, Hollingshead and Aiden Kirk. So Hollingshead's going to try to hold on to it, the PT Autosports with Copeland Motorsport driver. You can tell it's a Copeland car by that sort of day glow on the side of it. Here we check on the battle for 3rd place. Ethan Ayers, Livio Galante, and Christian Weir. This is really the battle for 4th right now. Galante trying to hold off an attack from the Tech Sport driver.
Yeah, I think there's already been some contact in the opening stages of this race because that side skirt bodywork is kind of clinging by one clip on the right-hand side of this car. We'll see it when we come around turn 6. So have to figure out what puzzle pieces fit together and who got into the side of that car, but I don't think that'll be a huge deal for him. And trouble for the 5. That is Beltre Curtis for Copeland Motorsports, his first race weekend in Toyota GR Cup North America. He's touched the lava grass, as I described earlier on.
Yeah, and that's coming up out of turn 2 down into turn 3, and I wonder if that's an incident where Beltre just got a little bit wide coming through there. Let's take a look at the replay.
Yep.
Did I call it right? Yes, I did. Just got a little bit wide. Nice catch, it has to be said. That could have turned out a little bit more brutal. It could have gotten out into that outside tire barrier, but Beltre able to hold the car underneath him a little bit and keep going. As we check back in on our leader, Will Robusto. Oh, trouble for Weisenberg.
And that's our race winner from race 1 of the weekend. Lucas Weisenberg stopped off track. That's at the exit of 7A. And I would guess that it doesn't look like there's any damage on this car, so it looks like he might have just pulled off. But that's heartbreak for Weisenberg. We talked about this championship and how hard it is to win, but hold that thought. We're 3 wide up here. Here's Ethan Goulart on a charge up through the field, making his way past Galante, and right in behind there's Schweid in the 98.
Yeah, Schweid tried to be able to take that. Sounds like we don't necessarily have anything to prove definitively what happened to Lucas Weisenberg, but Kyle, maybe just a little bit of a puff of something coming out of it. I'm thinking that's probably mechanical.
Yeah, so not exactly sure what happened to the 46, but it didn't look like he had any help to get over there, but it has withdrawn the safety car, so full course yellow now. And this is our first full course yellow of this race, likely for that stopped 46 off track. So it looked like he just pulled over there. And as I was just about to mention about the championship, this is one of the drivers we expected to sort of fill the gap for those reigning champions that have moved off to other series now. And I think you need to perform at podium level every single race this year to win this championship. And for Lucas Weisenberg, it's not going to be 14 wins this year out of the 14 races, but as long as they can fix whatever has sidelined them this race, they got to get right back on the horse when we head to Circuit of the Americas, because this is going to be his only mulligan I think you can afford if you want to win this title.
I agree with that completely, and I think drivers that we had been looking at, like Jackson Bell, Spike Kohlbecker, they've got to be licking their lips a little bit, salivating at this potential opportunity. And I'm going to throw another driver into that mix here at this point. That's your leader, Will Robusto. Putting this on pole in a wet weather qualifying where it is very, very difficult. I thought for a second Robusto may have fallen down through the order, but he withheld an attack here from Jackson Bell and did a great job.
But why was Robusto on pole this morning in the wet weather? Because he is so aggressive, and he's really talented too. Think back to Barber Motorsports Park last year, the downhill run through turns 9 and 10. Will Robusto had 4 tires over the curb and then put 2 in the grass on the downhill run there. He will attack the racetrack. So on this restart, Jackson Bell has got to get his elbows out as well. We saw yesterday in the battle between Lucas Weisenberg and Weston Workman, they used a little hip and shoulder, and it all came out well and good. No penalties from that, but Bell has been so consistent. But to pass someone like Robusto's going to pull out some moves to stay out front here on this restart. So Bell's going to have to match that energy to get by him.
Yeah, I think he is. And let's not count out Ethan Ayers there. Nitro Motorsports, great driver. Christian Weir, Tech Sport also there, and Kohlbecker in the top 5. And let's take a second here, talk about another one of these young guns. Ethan Goulart, up to 6th place right now. Goulart's got game, and he may be able to put himself into a position to walk away with the podium.
Yeah, he had a penalty yesterday, so he started down the order after qualifying this morning, 12th place for him. And, you know, the 15-year-old driver had his only start in Toyota GR Cup North America last season at VIR, qualified 3rd there, ran 4th until a mechanical issue took him out for the weekend. But he's been so fast this weekend, and he has the aggression, as long as he can keep it in check, because yesterday that was what put him down the order. I think that car is absolutely capable, and driver, by the way, capable of going up there and tackling these top 5. Now, Kohlbecker is the 3rd winningest driver in the series, 6 wins in his career. And with a new team partnership this year, I think he's poised as well to be the leading driver in this championship. Was right up in the mix yesterday with the 46 and the 13 opportunity on this restart.
Yeah, opportunity for a lot of these drivers. And I've also got to look a little farther back in the field here. Weston Workman for BSI, not able to get the moves done that he thought he was going to. He may have an opportunity to move his way forward. Sounds like we're going to be back to green flag racing here before we know it. Should be back to green this time by. We didn't see that crazy of a restart, crazy of an initial start. Could we maybe see a change to that this time around?
Well, it's going to be a single file restart, just like the initial start, but now you've got almost half the race gone, so the aggression level is going to kick up. The track's dried out a little more. The drivers have gained some confidence. They know what the track's going to give them here on these Continental tires this late in the race, so I think the aggression level kicks up. I think you'll be looking as much in the rear view as you are out the windshield, but they make the windshield bigger for a reason there, DJ, and that is because what you want to focus on is the racetrack up the road. Don't miss your marks and don't beat yourself.
I think that last part of that is the key for me. Don't beat yourself, as we've seen plenty of drivers getting off into the outside, having some problems here. You've got to make sure you get things together, but in order to finish first you must finish, obviously. Alex Garcia in 14th place right now for Skip Barber Racing. Not going to miss that magenta car. The lights are out on the GR86 safety car as we bring our way through. Will Robusto going to lead this field around. Different restart point here. This is going to be able to go directly out of this final corner.
Yeah, so Robusto I think would do well to accelerate as soon as he can. We saw yesterday on the restart that Weisenberg didn't immediately fire off, and it kind of bunched the field up. Robusto is going to waste no time. Back to the throttle, 230 horsepower unleashed from these GR86s, and we're back underway, DJ.
Yeah, Robusto gets a good start, but crucially, I think Jackson Bell does as well. There's less than a car length in between the two as the green flag flies in the air. And let's see, Bell trying to look to the outside, look to the inside. Does he have any kind of a run? No, Robusto's going to cover it off and be able to carry enough speed. Galante almost fully sideways.
Yeah, Schweid was up on the rumble strip there on the left as well, and the painted curbs are still probably a little slick. So I'd stay away from those if you can, especially the wide flat ones like at the exit of turn 4 where we're headed next. Pretty clean restart through 3A. There's Alex Garcia again in the pole pace, number 14. And slide for Zach Hollingshead, goes for a wild ride to the right. Can he get it stopped before the corner? Sort of. The 47 of Aiden Kirk over-unders him there.
Want to give some credit there to Aiden Kirk. That was brilliant heads up to avoid what could have been a very, very nasty accident.
Others off behind them as well, so turn 4 a little slippery on this restart with all the aggression we've seen, but you're right, Aiden Kirk saw that coming and let the 88 of Hollingshead slide across his nose. Now onto the back straightaway here, Kirk and Garcia battling for position here.
And look who's up ahead of him. That's Weston Workman. He saw that opportunity and absolutely pounced on it. He moves up 2, maybe 3 positions. Oop. 3 wide, coming down into 7.
Jackson Tovo on the outside of the Nitro Motorsports car. That's Hewitt in the center of that 3 wide scenario. A little contact there. Tovo gets the boot and gets knocked back 2 or 3 spots.
The 17 there of Aiden Kirk going to hold on to that position. I believe that will be 12th place as he's ahead there of Garcia. Now Tovo trying to defend a little bit from
Sinceri got was there contact there between him and Ford Koch? He had a big wiggle at about 110 miles an hour. Here comes Hollingshead on a recovery charge up the inside at 9.
And that's Koch kind of getting out of the way. Sinceri gets hit, has to take to the runoff there and does a little bit of off-tracking. Meanwhile, there you see that Max Hewitt trying to be able to regain everything as much as well. This is where the craziness is happening.
What did I say about the elbows out?
Yeah.
We're jabbing some rib cages here on this restart lap. Side by side up the road, but turn 11, great passing opportunity here. And I bet these drivers in this group probably have some things to say. Here's the 0-3 in that mix as well. That's Carl Foreman for Precision Racing LA right in the mix. And so is Shea Holbrook, making her first professional start in some time. And she's really excited about this opportunity. Team owner at BSI Racing has some wins in World Challenge. One of them came at the streets of Long Beach, where some SRO Motorsports competition is headed in a few weeks' time, and she's one of only 4 women to have won at that facility. Great to have her here, running for her own team in Toyota GR Cup North America.
Holbrook holds off. Good attack there from Carl Froman. Oh, there's a lot of cars off coming down into 4.
They're playing in the sandbox out there outside of turn 4. No fun over there. It's muddy. 71 of Christian Weir on the outside of the 78 of Ethan Ayers. This is Nitro Motorsports in the 78 and Weir in the Tech Sport Racing 71 car. Weir got his first start also at VIR last season in what was a pretty treacherous and challenging weekend in the wet there.
And Weir tried to be able to go around the outside there of that number 78 Nitro Motorsports machine. Couldn't really get it done. Car's going very, very wide. That's another one of the Tech Sport entries in the back. That's the 98 of Max Schwein.
Cut right across the nose at the exit of the quarter. Was that Livio Galanti? Right across the nose of that car, made him jam on the binders a bit. Galanti still dragging that bodywork there, but hasn't seemed to impede the performance much.
Battle for P3 still on. Ayers leads over Weir. Kohlbecker's fallen back just a little bit from that. There's Casey Mashore, mentioned them earlier. Casey's moving his way up through the fields. Ayers has been able to get by Weir.
Jackson Bell taking a look at Robusto, fading over to the right. I gotta need another look at this number 7. He might have folded in that passenger side mirror somewhere on track with another competitor, likely a couple laps into the race. We've seen that at times where the cars get so close together. All the same car, by the way. So when they have side-by-side contact, the first thing that touches is the wing mirrors, and you need those things to see out the right side.
I can confirm, by the way, that Jackson Bell does indeed have that passenger side mirror folded in, so he's clearly made a little bit of how you doing there with Robusto.
Margins are so tight here in this series. At least it's still attached to the car. We've had those things dangling by the wiring at times. But great battle there, just 2/10 between himself and Robusto. Big slide up on the rumbles out of turn 4 for the 78 of Ayers.
And they've got to sort this out relatively quickly, because if they go side by side again for more than just a brief moment, Kohlbecker for RVA Graphics Motorsport by Speed Syndicate, that yellow machine behind them, you can rest assured Kohlbecker's going to pounce.
A lot quicker running by yourself than it is side by side. You just have to compromise so much of the width of the racetrack to facilitate clean racing. And so when you spend 2 or 3 corners door to door, you'll lose a second easily. And I think Jackson Bell's probably thinking about that as well, because as soon as they start to battle, they'll drag this whole mix. And it's really on back to the top 10 that is right behind them. So if they slow up too much, bring Ayers, Weir, Kohlbecker, Goulart right into the mix.
Bell's being very, very cagey about this overtaking maneuver. He's not going too aggressive. He's kind of emulating, frankly, what we saw Lucas Weisenberg do yesterday, or Weston Workman do yesterday, and even what Gresham Wagner did a year before that.
Yeah, I think patience is key here. We've just passed the halfway point, so there's no rush, but as long as he's quicker than Robusto and keeping him right where he wants him in the crosshairs out the windshield, trouble for the 12, DJ.
Yeah, that's John Lennon, one of our legend drivers.
He'll get back rolling. There's another car stopped at the exit of the corner that looked to me like the 50, no, that's not the 51. It's one of the other Copeland Motorsports cars. Let's see.
Take a look at the replay here.
Oh, Beltre Curtis in the 5 is
just too deep.
And then I think that car, the left front suspension is torn up, and he did not get very far and is now stopped at the exit of 7A. So this, if he can't get moving, this will likely draw another safety car. I don't know that Jackson Bell wants this to happen, because he's got Robusto right where he wants him. He does not want Ayers, Weir, Kohlbecker right on his tailpipes again.
No, he doesn't. And there is the safety car, full course yellow, safety car deployed. Everybody's slowing up a little bit. I think that caught Weir out a little bit, as he had to kind of get on the throttle or get on the brakes and slow himself down.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Beltre Curtis, young man that we were talking to him in the paddock, soft-spoken young man, but mentioned in the he plays sports, does track and cross country, and stays fit and healthy. And unfortunately, that contact is going to take him out of this race. And these cars are pretty robust, but when you get on a corner like that, it'll fold those suspension pieces inwards and make it challenging to drive away from any incident zone. And I have to say, again, talking about how robust these cars are, it was the 15 of Brett Kowalski that had an incident on the test day, sent it pretty deep into the tires at turn 11, tore the whole left side suspension up. But the rear suspension of these cars is a pretty simple setup. It's a multi-link rear, And once you replace those parts and bang out the bodywork, it was good as new.
Well, and credit to Kowalski here, the tech sport driver up into 15th. I don't know exactly where he started this race, but I know it was down in the 20s, and it's a good result for him to work his way back up there as we check and see.
+9.
Yeah, he started 24th, and he's all the way up to 15th. That is a great recovery for a young driver.
Especially given that car slid off of a rollback, didn't roll off the rollback. Yep. So that was great work there by Tech Sport Racing also to get that thing repaired overnight on Thursday. So the field getting collected behind the Toyota GR86 safety car, and Will Robusto has his mirrors full of the field once again. But it has been Robusto and Bell that have sprinted away from the field at the opportunities so far. And again, Bell has looked very patient. At what point do you light the afterburners?
I think, we're coming down, probably going to get started here with about 15 to 12 minutes left to go. I think when you get under 10, that's when you really have to start pushing. Maybe try to build that gap a little bit more between Ayers and Weir and see if you can stretch that out. If you get that gap again, then you got to start going for broke.
Let's talk about this racetrack for a moment because it's going to be real relevant. The passing zones, and we call them passing zones because it's really the clearest place you can make an overtake. 12 corners around here, about 2.5 miles worth of racetrack, 160 feet of elevation change. But the best passing places, turn 4, that's a risky one, but turn 4, turn 7, turn 9, and turn 11 is where we see most of the opportunities. But this turn 4, and we're going to see this is the next corner coming up here on the camera shot. It's a downhill run, and it plunges into a very tight apex. So the move here is pop out to the right, dive in on the brakes, and try to run your competitor out a little wide on exit because the next turn, turn 5 that we're headed into now, a long right-hander. But you need to get it done before the next turn because DJ, it goes back to the left, downhill at turn 6.
Yeah, but look at that shot that we just saw. What was to the outside of the track? And the same is true down here into turn 6, the carousel. We've got a lot of dirt and mud build up offline. That's going to cause some problems if you try to run a little bit too wide.
Yeah, can't really run all the way to the rim of the racetrack, that's for sure. Turn 7 at the end of the long backstretch. This is the Sonoma Raceway drag strip. And at the end of it is the hairpin corner we know as turn 7 and 7A, another great passing opportunity. We've seen drivers run out very wide there and find some drier pavement before arcing in and running into the fast S's here. That downhill run off in the distance to turn 9, another great zone to make a pass. But we see an opportunity going into the exit of 7 and into 7A here. But that, again, is really risky because the racetrack might be 50 or 60 feet wide there, but you need to get down to about a 12-foot wide strip right on the apex to make that corner as efficiently as possible. See a lot of side-to-side hip and shoulder there.
Yeah, and that may very well have been where we saw Jackson Bell's mirror get folded in. It could have been in that exact position. Cars working their way through the S's right now. This is one of my personal favorite areas of the track. A lot of commitment through here. Really only one line. You've got to absolutely send it, then obviously down into 9 and 9A.
Yeah, and when you leave 9A, you're accelerating up through the gears in the 6-speed set of sequential transmission and getting ready to use that Bosch ABS in potentially your last passing opportunity when the white flag flies. Turn 11, the hairpin corner here. It'll be about 35 miles an hour in anger, because this corner is really tight. You have the tire bundles on the apex to keep you honest, but this is where we saw Weisenberg and Workman come together in race 1. And they stomped that gas pedal to the floor on corner exit and drag raced up the front straightaway. But it was Weisenberg yesterday that was able to cling on. So second full course yellow, this one for the number 5 of Beltray Curtis. Stopped at the exit of 7A. This is our second yellow of the day. We're down to just 16 minutes of racing remaining.
16 minutes left in the session. Want to give credit there to John Dean, up 3 positions. He's only 1 away from Livio Galante for maybe taking that Legends prize yet again. That would be 2 on the trot for John if he is able to do that, but I don't think Livio necessarily wants to let it go all that easily. He's going to be fighting tooth and claw for that.
And John Dean, not unfamiliar to single-make racing either, so new to this championship, but racing against similar cars, that is his bread and butter. And drivers now weaving left and right, clearing off the marbles and the debris from the Continental tires. I'd anticipate a restart relatively shortly, given the body language I'm seeing out of the cars. Now, let's talk also about the 13 of Weston Workman. Surprised today. He's up 7 spots from where he started because of the challenging conditions in qualifying, but there's still a long way for him to get up the order where I think he'd be happy with after the weekend he's had in pace.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there on that. He's going to be a little bit disappointed, I think, with the order that he has. As we watch John Dean, we were talking about a little bit earlier. Great run for John. There is that number 13 of Weston Workman.
A new partnership with Endava. He's gone over to BSI Racing, a team that he's familiar with from other paddocks around the motorsports community. So that helps with the communication. And Weston obviously has had a lot of success in this series in years past, but it was just shy all last year. Second place, second place, second place, third place, second place. How close has he been? So many times. Race 2 last year was leading with 2 laps to go and was unable to sneak the victory away. Same story here yesterday, but he was on the offensive side. He's got a long way to go, though, if he wants that shot with 15 minutes left here, DJ.
And I was right. Between 15 and 12 minutes left to go is exactly when we are going to be restarting. Jackson Bell doing a little bit of weaving behind your leader, Will Robusto, as they come down into turn 11. Robusto, again, able to accelerate pretty much right out of turn 11, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Gets on the loud pedal, starts to pull away a little bit. Jackson Bell maybe into the clutches here of Ethan Ayers. That is not what Bell wanted to do. This is not nearly as good of a restart as he had. Green flag in the air. We're back to racing, and Ethan Goulart trying to take a move here on Spike Kolbecker.
Yeah, it's teammate. Spike Kolbecker's now on the RVA Graphics team, but Goulart in the Tech Sport car up the inside of Kolbecker. Can he keep it here? Downhill run side by side through 3. Kolbecker's in the grass. We're 3 wide. Here comes Casey Mashore in the 50 car. Where'd he come from in that bright yellow highlighter car?
And Mashore's going to pick one position away. There's a move in the back by the 89 machine. That's Galante. Oh, this has disaster written all over it.
Math does not work there. 3 abreast, and Goulart's way in the dirt there at the exit of 4. So is Max Schweid of the 98. Everybody digging through the soil there. No treasure to be found there at the exit of 4.
And as you see on your screen there, Beltray Curtis, incident responsibility, drive-through penalty for Beltray. That's going to be a little bit of salt in the wounds, but here comes the battle. That's John Dean and Galante. That's for the Legends Trophy.
Yeah, this is a battle for that new Worldwide Express trophy for drivers ages 45 and older. Mashore and Kolbecker, though, still side by side. And Casey Mashore having a phenomenal run late in the going here, clears Kolbecker. The front 4, though, have just lit the afterburners and dispatched the rest.
Oh, and a position lost there by Livio Galante. I believe that was Alex Garcia that was able to get the move done on him. That's going to put him out of touching distance of John Dean. Farther back in the field, Hollingshead, remember he had that off a little bit earlier. He's trying to fight back on Max Hewitt. Here we go again, as that's going to be one of the Tovos going down to the outside of Galante into 9.
It's Jackson Tovo in 31, and big slide for the 89, and here comes Kirk to the inside. Power down on corner exit, but he's on the wrong side of the road to overtake at 11, so he might need to do a little switch up here. And then behind, a couple other drivers looking for spots. Schweid on a recovery charge up the inside of Hewitt.
Held onto the corner there for Tovo, but it looks like that 47 machine trying to fight back. That's Aiden Kirk trying to see if he's got anything to do. Let's see if he's able to get it to play. Side by side down through turn 12. Tovo on the outside looking in. He's going to have to fall back into 14th place.
Any place on the screen where there isn't a battle on the racetrack, DJ? Look at this. Ford Koch on the outside of Hewitt. Up the hill into turn 2. Big late braking move there for Koch. And Shea Holbrook has a great view out the windshield. 2 cars side by side. Sniffing the rear bumpers here into turn 3. Watch the curb on the left there. Hewitt dodges it, but big counter steer up the hill.
And that's going to open up the door for Ford Koch. He comes on through. Now farther up in the field, Goulart trying to charge his way back forward after that big off on this corner on the previous lap.
Yeah, that was a mistake that knocked him down the order. I thought he'd be up in this mix with the top 4. Side by side between John Dean and Casey Mashore. I'm so impressed with the 50 on the restart. He took that opportunity and ran with it here.
Yeah, but he's fallen down through the order. He was as high as 5th. He's dropped 4 positions.
Yeah, I guess he was up in front of Kolbecker a while ago, wasn't he? So dropped a few spots. Here's Weir on the 78 of Ethan Ayers, and up the inside this time, little hip and shoulder at 7.
Weir trying to be able to hold that out. Let's see if he can get it to go. No, Ayers is going to hold on to that position. They're side by side through the S's. This is a dangerous proposition. Ayers is going to be able to hold it, but did that cost him a little bit of momentum? Here comes Weir now looking down to the inside, to the outside. Ayers defends it. Nothing to play.
Yeah, a little game of chicken there in the braking zone. Ayers faded over him for a moment. Weir made it look like he was going to go for the dive, but that would have been from too far back and likely would have drawn a penalty there. Look at the leaders up the road, though. 2/10 between them into the braking zone for 11.
Yeah, but that's exactly what Jackson Bell needed to do. Get that gap so he can spend the last 10 minutes attacking and trying to find, whoa, big action through the field. I think that was a plastic bag that we just saw.
Jensen Safronis has had his GR86 into the back of somebody. That nose is folded up a little. See that white car, kind of center right screen there, the 41. And there's the 3 of Jason Kos. The 113 of Ethan Tovo. That second yellow helped him. Remember, he had a drive-through penalty for a start violation, so gets right back into the mix there.
Sofronis able to move their way forward. That'll be 22nd position over the 03 there of Carl Foreman. Foreman now has to play defensive as the 67 BSI machine tries to go forward.
Shea Holbrook there trying to keep overlap on the 03 into turn 3. This will be an aggressive move, and she'll give it up there. That's probably smart, but here comes Ethan Tovo. Will wait no longer, climbs the curb at 3A, and I don't think he'll have enough braking power to get to the inside of Shea at 4.
No, has to give up the ghost there on that one. Let's check back in at the front of the field here. Jackson Bell starting to poke and prod. Oh, Zach Hollingsworth off. I think that's at the exit of the carousel. No, that's turn 3.
Yeah, Hollingshead there, turn 3 into the 3A sequence. Big compression down there. We saw that be a trouble spot yesterday. When you get to the bottom of that compression, if you have any counter steer in it, the car gains a bunch of grip all at once and you just shoot off to the right. So go back to the lead battle here. Robusto and Bell, 2 or 3 car lengths between them. And again, I think Bell has Robusto right where he wants him. And now it's the game of chess.
Yeah, it's just a matter of Bell waiting for the right opportunity. Runs that car so wide.
There's like 3 inches of pavement just to the grass edge of the white painted line, and they've used every inch of it. Here comes Bell, fades to the right, but that was just a fake move to see if Robusto would fall for it.
But I like that from Jackson here, poking and prodding, trying to find if he can make any little break in the armor here of Robusto.
He's there, though. I think he's close enough that he's got to take a look now, but where? Turn 2. It's a risky spot to make a pass, but he's going to have a look up the inside at 1, opens the door. But it's so late braking here into turn 2 because you're uphill. You have the gravity assist to slow you down. Now Jackson drops the tires over the rumbles there, gets some water on them. Continentals, but a little sideways. He's pushing.
Sideways. Yeah, he is. I love what I'm seeing here out of Robusto, though. He is not flinching in this attack and these pokes and prods from Jackson Bell.
Every time they touch the candy stripes, so just waiting to see that rear end kick out, but things are drying up here pretty nicely at Sonoma Raceway. 8 minutes to go into the dropping carousel. Robusto, wider line here on the downhill run. Late apex here, the camber flattens out on the exit here, right where it rejoins the drag strip, so you push out wide, and Bell right out over the edge of the curbing. Lost a little ground that time.
Lost some ground, but crucially, I don't think he kicked up any dirt in the process. It is important to note here, by the way, that Bell does have the fastest lap of the race, 152.5.
Yeah, it's about a 10th quicker than Robusto's best lap. Might be all he needs. But through the S's again, chasing each other, nose to tail. Left and right sweepers. These cars at low center of gravity, near 50-50 weight balance in these cars. They're well suited to these high-speed direction changes. And that Bosch ABS at work today. Here comes Weston Workman on Kohlbecker. This is for 5th place.
And this could be a crucial battle when we talk about championship for the full year long. If he's able to get this move done on Kohlbecker, deny him some points, that could be huge for Weston Workman.
Yeah, again, we expect Kohlbecker Workman to be in the mix week in and week out. Both probably a little further down in the top 5 than they would like to be, but see, the championships are won over the course of a season. If you can just make your bad days a little less bad, that will be what it comes down to.
There's Kohlbecker in that bright yellow and red livery. And they've got to watch out. They fight too much. Ethan Goulart is going to pounce on them sitting back there in 7th position.
Goulart has not been lacking for aggression this weekend. Young talent. He's so quick. But had an off a few laps ago out of turn 4 and is still sort of recovering from that. But has these drivers in a good spot. I think plenty of time to get the job done here too. 6 minutes is 3 or 4 laps around here at Sonoma Raceway, running about 152s, 153s at the moment.
Let's see if anybody gets aggressive coming down into the carousel, like we saw with Robusto opening that door. I don't think.
John Dean also approaching this group. It'll be a 4-horse race for 5th place here shortly.
All right, here's the run. Workman carries some good speed. Can he keep it underneath him? Yes, he can. Car length, about car length and a half. Let's check back in on that battle for the lead.
I think this is the calm before the storm here. I think Jackson Bell is just sizing up Robusto. He's learning a lot behind him right now, figuring out where he has the advantage over that RVA Graphics Motorsports by Speed Syndicate car. Getting ahead in the steering and the fast parts here. A couple passing opportunities around this racetrack. Which one is Bell best at?
I think he's looked pretty strong coming down into 11, personally. That's where he's looked really good. He gets a good run out of that turn 9 and 9A.
9, it's a braking zone, so you can make a pass there. Cole Becker, little counter steer on exit, and Workman will jump on this opportunity. Get up through the Sadev gearbox and have a look to the right. Cole Becker sees it coming, fades to the center of the track on defense.
He's going to try to block that off. Workman's going to have to go the long way around unless he can get an over-under here. Not quite able to do it.
These drivers have 4 different traction control settings in the Bosch system. They've got 0 to 3, and most of the drivers told me 0 to 1 is where you're going to run that. But earlier in this race, they might have had it turned up a little. And the less you have it, the less it'll interfere with your power application. So leaving turn 11, these cars have enough power, even with the slick tires, to spin up the rears. So you might want to play with that setting to get your maximum acceleration. I think you can handle a little longitudinal slip. You don't necessarily want to cut power leading on that long straightaway. So you can spin the tires up a bit. Just 4 minutes to make them last, so go for it now.
Yeah, this is all-out push time here as we watch right now. Cole Becker still holding out. Now it looks like that's switching back. Workman's getting closed in on here by Ethan Goulart.
Yeah, it's been a lot of ebb and flow in this top 5 battle. It's so tight in this championship this year. Even in practice, we didn't really know what to take away because the field was so mixed up compared to what we'd seen in the past. And even with the strength of Copeland Motorsports, they have 11 teams under their banner in some way, shape, or form here this weekend. But it has not exactly been as strong as we anticipated. It's been Jackson Bell carrying the torch, which was sort of the expectation. But RVA Graphics Motorsports sitting in the catbird seat for this race win in the next 3 minutes and 55 seconds. But that Brawnability car has looked mighty strong, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. Oh, a little bit of a move here. We're trying to be able to get something on Ethan Ayers.
Yeah, put Ethan offline into the braking zone for 9. It gets very narrow here. It's not your preferred passing opportunity, but if you can get alongside or put someone offline, make them slip up into a better opportunity here at 11. You see some defense here from Ethan Ayers on Weir.
Yeah, Weir's going to have to try to go around the long way there. Looks again for that over-under maneuver. Just not quite enough space down at apex to make it work. My math is right, which I actually think it is. 2 to go at the line.
That would be a first.
It would be.
20 laps complete for the race leader, and it is still Will Robusto, Jackson Bell in hot pursuit. Ayers and Weir up the hill. They're in their own battle for a podium spot. There's a trophy on the line there and some cash prizing as well. Don't forget about that throughout the season. So down the hill towards turn 3. Up and over the crest, there's a 78 and 71. Still in lockstep here.
Weir thinks about a move to the inside, but the Tech Sport Racing driver decides better of it into turn 4. Carries good momentum. Here they go. Plunging through 5, now into the carousel. A little bit of a wiggle there for Ayers. Is that going to slow him down on corner exit?
But the track flattens out here, so there's always a little push, a lot of lean on those right side Continentals. This is probably the only place where you'll experience a little slipstream heading into 7, but again, in these cars, it's not all that strong, so it's up to the drivers and the team setting the cars up to take full advantage of that. Ayers covers the inside. Weir tries the long way around.
Yeah, tries the long way, but it didn't work. Let's check back in on that battle for the lead as they will be coming to the white flag.
Go time, Will, or Jackson. He's got to get up on the wheel here. He's looked very tidy. And so has Robusto in defense, by the way. Let's give Will credit where credit is due. We talked about how aggressive he is, but he has not really made a single mistake.
He hasn't.
And any mistake will have this position swap, I imagine, because Jackson Bell is hot. As down into turn 11, we've got battle here for 3rd place. The 78 of Ethan Ayers on defense from Weir here. Weir's going to go the long way around. Can he throttle up and try to keep overlap into turn 1? Not quite. For the Nitro Motorsports 78, he's going to have 3rd still.
Ayers tries to hold him off as the white flag flies. 1 lap to go for all of these drivers. And the 2 couplets up at the front of the field decide who will walk away with hardware. It's Robusto and Bell, Ayers and Weir.
Yeah, this battle for 3rd place is as fierce as the one for 1st. And even Cole Becker and Workman, this one's going to get hot before the race is over in the next 2.5 miles or so. So as you call them couplets, there's 3 groups of 2. Tandem dancing here at Sonoma Raceway. Jackson Bell into turn 4. Just a car length between these 2 drivers all the way out to the edge of the road. Jackson is running out of time. Will Robusto has had a great first sector, put some distance between himself and the Copeland Motorsports driver.
He does. He's got a couple of car lengths in between him. Not enough to be safe, but enough to be scared about. Here comes Ayers and Weir. Big wiggles coming over the crest of turn 5.
Opens the door. Here comes Weir to the inside. Here comes the Tech Sport Racing 71. Side-by-side contact. Folds the mirrors in. They rub fenders again, and it's a drag race to turn 7.
It's Weir to the outside. Ayers to the inside. Ayers is going to have that preferred line. Weir doesn't want to give it up, and welcome to the battle. Spike Kohlbecker, he's going to try to poke his nose in as well, but it looks like Ayers is going to hold on to the position for now.
Weir's got overlap still on driver's left. Now tucks back in line. It'll be a race to turn 9 for these three. Who wants that third place trophy? Bad enough to make a move here into 9. Spike Kohlbecker all over it. The 2 leaders through 9, but this is the battle for the podium spot.
Defensive line for Ayers, but Weir still tries to open it up, dives it deep. Contact between the two, bouncing and banging. That's going to spin him around. Spike Kohlbecker gets through.
Crunch, and the 78 is out. Ethan Goulart tangled up, and so is the 16 of John Dean right at the exit of the chicane. Robusto and Bell clear of the melee, DJ. Last corner for Will Robusto for RVA Graphics.
Will Robusto, for the first time in his career and for the first time for the team, comes to the line to take the checkered flag in Toyota GR Cup North America. RVA Graphics Motorsport by Speed Syndicate takes their first victory. Problem for Kohlbecker down into the corner of 11. That's going to send him down in the order. Weir will take 3rd, Workman 4th, Goulart 5th.
Wow, major dramas in the last lap of that race. Everything just popped off right at the end there, starting with that collision down at turn 9 that sent a couple of cars sideways and crunching into each other. And it mixed up the order. The 55, there's a 16 of John Dean. What a heartbreak situation for him. And man, that 78 is all torn up. All the corners of that thing folded in. Documented how tight turn 9 can be. But Will Robusto will add his name to the list of drivers that have won here in Toyota GR Cup North America. His first career win, and also the first win for RVA Graphics Motorsports by Speed Syndicate. And holds off a hard-charging Jackson Bell. Only 5 drivers have won prior to this. Will Robusto becomes the 6th in that number 2 car. And how strong was he on defense from Jackson Bell in the late stages of that race? All it would have taken was one mistake. Kept focused out the windshield and held on. Christian Weir grabs a podium spot in that 71, but I think there's a lot of post-race discussions to be had about the final mile here at Sonoma Raceway. Weston Workman comes home 4th. The results will likely be unofficial for some time while the race control sorts out all of the collisions. And the incident at turn 9 listed as under review. No surprises there. But in this championship this season, there is so much opportunity for these young drivers and these teams to establish a championship favorite, with the 2 reigning champions no longer participating for 2025. They've moved on to different series within the SRO America paddock. So yesterday, Lucas Weisenberg won race 1. Now Will Robusto wins race 2 here at Sonoma. 25 points for both of those drivers heading into Circuit of the Americas here in a couple of weeks' time. And they'll head back down to pit lane. This will be a big day for Robusto. And what a race here. Let's have a look at our race results for race 2 for Toyota GR Cup North America here at Sonoma Raceway. Robusto for RVA Graphics Motorsports by Speed Syndicate by 0.8 of a second over Jackson Bell. Unofficially, Christian Weir for Tech Sport Racing, 3rd over Weston Workman and Ethan Goulart, 4th and 5th for PSI Racing and Tech Sport. Mashore Auto Body with Casey Mashore, 6th place, great run there at the end, ahead of Aiden Kirk, Spike Kohlbecker. Jackson Tovo snags the top 10 in the number 31 for Nitro Motorsports, and Skip Barber Racing's Alex Garcia finishes in 10th. There's Livio Galante in the number 89 Eagles Canyon Racing, powered by Fast Track Car, just outside the top 10. Max Schweid, Kowalski, Koch, and Ethan Tovo, top 15 for both of the Tovo brothers in their Nitro Motorsports car. Brunson, Safronis, Hewitt, Holbrook, Davis, the rest of your top 20 here. Jason Coase in the number 3 Eagles Canyon car finishes 21st with Carl Foreman. Massimo Sunseri for BSI in 23rd. Then it's Lennon, Peyton Fayen in the number 80 car for Nitro Motorsports, finishes 25th. Trouble down the order for some of these drivers. Zach Hollingshead in the PT Autosport with Copeland Motorsports car, 26th. Ethan Ayers, we saw the 78 Nitro Motorsports car involved in a late race collision at turn 9 with John Dean in the 16 for Copeland Motorsports. Mike Lamara for Precision Racing LA. Beltre Curtis down in 30th with that contact and issue that we saw there, penalty applied there. Lucas Weisenberg out with mechanical problems seemingly at turn number 7. Will Robusto climbing out of his number 2 RV at Graphics Motorsports by Speed Syndicate Toyota GR86, his first series victory, getting the Continental neckband there. Let's head down to the victory lane celebrations. Amanda Busick is standing by with Will Robusto.
And congratulations on the win here, Will. Yesterday you were just one off of getting a podium here, and now kicking off this race on the pole and then winning it here for race number 2. The guys have been talking about just how open this season will be in this championship, but that guy right there was in your mirrors the whole time. How did you hold Jackson off?
Just staying consistent, just minimizing mistakes. That's the name of the game in this kind of racing. So.
From the start of this race to the finish, how was the condition of the track and how did you manage it?
Track was dry from the start, so it wasn't as bad as we were expecting.
Congratulations on your very first win, Will. You are a winner here in Toyota GR Cup.
Thank you.
Robusto very excited here. I think this is a big moment for him in the limelight after picking up his first series victory. See more celebrations down by the podium, and he'll stand on the top step for the first time after a couple years of competing here in Toyota GR Cup North America. And minimizing mistakes is what he said there in the interview with Amanda, and that was exactly what he did. Just didn't flinch once, even with pressure from Jackson Bell leading the charge for Copeland Motorsports in tow. And who is going to lead this championship into the run at Circuit of the Americas? Robusto. Strong run there. Let's head down to the driver that finished second place in this race, Jackson Bell, with Amanda.
And Jackson, you would have been right there if Will had any mistake on track. Is there any moment that you look back on you wish you would have been more aggressive?
I don't know, a few of those restarts I feel like I got pretty close, but wasn't quite aggressive enough to be able to make a move. My plan really the whole race was just pressure him into a mistake, and kudos to him. He did a great job of keeping it clean and not making any mistakes, and made it really hard to pass. But I'm happy after a tough day yesterday with 2 incidents and having to go back to the end of the field and making my way back up. It's a good point to stay, and look forward to rebounding and hopefully winning some more races this year at COTA and the rest of the schedule.
Jackson, you're, as you said, a competitor in this series prior. We're only 2 races in, but what do you make of the assessment of parity we're seeing so far?
I think it's great. There's so much parity throughout the field that each race, you have no idea who's going to win, and the field was just shooken up so much even from yesterday to today. So I really look forward to the rest of the season and just keep climbing and keep improving, and hopefully we'll be there in the championship fight at the end.
Right, and Kyle, that is a wrap on the first 2 races of the Toyota GR Cup season here in Sonoma.
Yeah, great weekend of racing, and Jackson Bell, one of these rising young talents here in the Toyota GR Cup North America Series. And I think it's going to be a fun season, but this race weekend was a lot of fun here at Sonoma. Let's take a look at the highlights from race number 2 for Toyota GR Cup. Race 2 here at Sonoma Raceway for Toyota GR Cup North America was a fun one. Single file start up the front straightaway here with damp conditions early on. Lucas Weisenberg attacking early in the Segra car for his lone Lucas Racing team. Spike Kohlbecker battling with Max Schweid, Tech Sport driver on the outside. And a little off-track there moment for Beltre Curtis in the number 5. Hit the grass and went for a ride. Was able to get back on track and continue his race. Massimo Sinceri and the 88 of Zach Hollingshead coming to blows at the exit of turn number 11. Little contact here at the apex of turn 7. The number 12 goes around. That was John Lennon. And more side-by-side battling here between John Dean in the 16 and Livio Galanti for Eagles Canyon. Down the S's area, little contact here, little hip and shoulder from the 73 and Massimo Sinceri, who went for a loop at the exit of 9. Contact here between the 71 of Christian Weir and the 78 of Ethan Ayers. Late in the going, last lap contact. Big dramas late in the going that mixed up the running order and caused a DNF for a handful of drivers. Toyota GR Cup North America, fantastic battling here at Sonoma. Circuit of the Americas is up next on the championship.